From the north side of the San Francisco Bay to Singapore, welcome to Urban X Real Talk Fitness Radio with your host, business owner, lecturer, author, master trainer, Tiaja. With over 30 years of experience in the health and fitness industry, he will challenge the fitness between your ears. So prepare your mind, body, and soul for the revolution of self-care, the evolution of fit, with real talk about real people, real health, real fitness, and the real deal behind our present illness culture. Real talk every time, all the time. Get weekly insights on how to shift your thinking, emoting, eating, training, hydrating, goal setting, and resting for you, the everyday athlete. You can cheat your fitness, but you can't steal your health flow. It's Tuesday, 9 a.m. Let's flow.
There are common debilitating diseases that resonate with us, like cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and Alzheimer's. These are the highly visible diseases, the ones that have large budgets allocated to them, PR teams, and nationally recognized foundations named after them. They're backed by the muscle of Wall Street and the FDA, the ones that get all the press. Some, like breast cancer awareness, have an entire month dedicated to just them. Now, when you think about it, it really is a brilliant strategy. The entire northern hemisphere goes pink. Interestingly, pink is a color we associate with the feminine principle, with girls who we think adoringly as our little princesses. We don't normally associate the color pink with a potentially debilitating disease like cancer. Well, such is the power of marketing. There's undeniably more pseudoscientific information and marketing-based propaganda disguised as facts about our bodies coming at us daily than in entire lifetimes of generations past. But what about those diseases that don't make the news yet show up in a major way in your life as a clinical depression or feelings of irritability or inexplicable stress? Stress and tension have become an accepted way of life and can be shown to have killed more people than the cigarettes many still smoke to relieve it. Finding the fine line between what we know about ourselves versus what we can explain can be a balancing act, mostly because we tend to take for granted what we know about ourselves, which usually means that after a certain age, we no longer feel there's a need for further introspection. But it is precisely this sort of thinking that is leading us to the brink of such personal destruction. So here we are, left to our own devices and conclusions about what to put into our bodies, or do with them for that matter. What's healthy versus what's unhealthy? What's natural versus what's unnatural? What's good versus what's bad? Not surprising, there is a plethora of information on what to put into our bodies, so much so that today most people are now confused about something as germane to life as what they should eat. But here's another question that doesn't often get asked, yet has to do with what we put into our bodies. What do you listen to? Yes, what do you listen to? Because I can assure you that whatever you listen to permeates every cell in your body. Like food, most of what we listen to is loaded with substances which contribute very little to our nourishment and may in fact be injurious to our health. So let me ask you a question. You don't have to answer me, but ask yourself, does what you listen to make you happy or sad? Does it produce feelings of tranquility, or does it set you on edge? Does it help you sleep or keep you awake at night? Now here we don't need science to tell us what we instinctively know. No one in a lab coat has to tell us when something is good for us or not. But we human beings are complex beings, meaning we don't always do what's best for us nor what benefits us. If I pulled up to the side of you in my car and we both had our music playing, would I roll my window down to hear your music, or up because it was trespassing on my health? What we perceive as music is not music at all. It is a chain of mechanical and neurochemical events, the end product of which is an internal image we call music. It is our brain's response to those vibrating molecules that either contribute to our body's defenses or conquers our ability to defend ourselves from those diseases that destroy both body and soul. Welcome to Urban X Real Talk Fitness Radio, where we challenge the fitness between your ears. I'm your host, Tiaja. The composer Edgar Varese famously defined music as an organized sound. From a neuropsychological perspective, it's interesting how music as organized sound affects our brain. Now, I'm not going to get into the fundamental blocks of music because most of you probably know those better than I do. What I do know is that the basic elements of sound are loudness, pitch, there's contour, duration or rhythm, tempo, timbre, special location, and reverberation. Now, our brains organize these fundamental perceptual attributes into higher level concepts, much like a painter arranging lines into forms. Those lines and splotches of paint become art to our brains because they ultimately carry with them emotion and other aesthetic attributes. Music, like the visual arts, surrounds us. But music is a unique art form because of its many applications and its universality. Music is used therapeutically to assist in the healing process. Thus, it has within it the potential to elevate our consciousness in 12 notes, or 12 steps. 2018 will be just another year unless today you decide that it won't be. It is Tuesday, September 18th, 2018. Let's flow.
A lot of you will know that piece, I imagine, that I just played. And some of you might know that it was written by Bach. And maybe a few of you will know it's his first prelude for piano in C major. But I'm going to say something now that I think most of you won't know. And this whole conference is about trust, isn't it? And there is not a single person in this room today, or watching this online, who would not be able to play that piece of music within a few weeks, even if you've never touched a piano before. So long as you've got 2 hands and 10 fingers, you would be able to play that piece in 5 or 6 weeks. I've just written a book that explains how to do it. It shows you how to read music, how to practice. You don't even need a proper piano. You can get a cheap electric keyboard and you can still do it. I just realized it's been 3 minutes into my talk and I've already plugged a book, and I'm really sorry. I'm not going to do that again. But the point is, it's music. That piece is, 90 seconds long, 2 minutes? It's 32 bars. It was written 300 years ago. And yet, within it, it contains the entire universe. It's a magical thing. I can't think of anything else in the world in which we live that is as universal as music. But music is extraordinary. It goes, E.M. Forster said, classical music is the deepest of the arts, and it goes deep beneath the arts. And it's one of those things, it's like it's a language that we don't know that we're all fluent in. It's amazing. And so learning an instrument, even listening to music, is something that I think we need more of in the world in which we live today. Because that world in which we live today, it seems to worship extroverts. And we see introverts as kind of freaks, to be honest. And I think it should be the other way around. Everything we do today is predicated on the idea that looking outside of ourselves is the right thing to do. You know, we post selfies on Instagram, and we are funny or argumentative on Twitter. We poke people on Facebook. We swipe on Tinder. We eat junk food. We do so many things looking outside to try and make what's happening inside feel just a little bit better. And weirdly, we've got it the wrong way round. 2 weeks ago, I was in Madrid, and I was doing a concert here. And in the concert, I was playing a piece of Beethoven. And so in the morning of the concert, I walked down to the Prado Museum. Oh, my God, what a place. And I went to see the Goya paintings. He did this series of paintings called the Black Paintings. And I did that because Goya and Beethoven have a lot of similarities. I guess most importantly, they went deaf at the same time, both of them. They were depressed. Goya was homeless. He spent time living under a bridge not far from here in Madrid. Beethoven was arrested once because the police thought he was a tramp, that he was homeless. But the real reason they're so connected is that they looked inside of themselves to express what was going on in the outside world. Goya painted the ugly truth that people needed to see. Beethoven ripped up the rule book, and he composed music that really for the first time in musical history was about feelings. It was about interiority, looking inside. It wasn't about the glory of God, making the people paying him happy. It was about feelings. And the truth is, all of us today, myself included, we have forgotten and just sit and be still and just be. Things are so fast. We've forgotten how to listen, how to really listen and hear. If I say to my girlfriend, "Darling, what's wrong?" and she looks at me and she says, "Nothing, I'm absolutely fine." It's not just me, right? That happens to her. I know then whatever I say, I'm in trouble. It's just there's nothing I can say to that. If I say to her, "Baby, what's wrong?" and she looks at me and she says, "You know, this morning when you said that thing, it really upset me." Suddenly everything's different. And we have somewhere to go. We have communication and dialogue and honesty. And I often wonder what would happen if we were all a bit more honest about what was going on in the inside. It's an extraordinary thing to be able to do. It's a brave thing to do. Would the world be a better place? I don't know. Would it be a more trustworthy place? Absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind. Like I say, I find it very difficult to trust. As some of you here know, I had quite a challenging childhood and upbringing. Lots of us have, of course. We all go through trauma in one way or another. And I wrote a book about it that some of you have been kind enough to buy, and some of you have even read it, which is very kind of you. And that book it's really a love letter to music, but it also talks about, it's basically a book about child rape and classical music. So it's a comedy. My publishers were so happy. Yes, this will be in supermarkets everywhere. Everyone wants to know about that stuff. But the truth is, the reason I bring it up is that it's a love letter to music, because music is the one thing that when bad things were happening, it literally saved my life. Even today, when it's going wrong, listen to music and everything changes. You know, they say that the soul resides at that junction point between our inner and our outer worlds. That small space between dreams and fantasy and reality. And my happiest moments are when I get back to that place, even if it's only for a short time. That's where Bach and Beethoven, that's the space they inhabited and they created from. And I want to mention a word. I'm really sorry for mentioning it, the M word, mindfulness. Oh, mindfulness. I'm sorry. You know, I often thought mindfulness meant you kind of hire a fleet of commando monks with shaved heads and you climb up a mountain and you for 3 weeks while fasting. And Bach invented mindfulness. Playing the piano, listening to music, really listening, is mindfulness. It's where the magic happens. I'm not a religious man at all, but I've got a lot of faith. I've got a lot of faith, but no religion. But there is no greater proof for the existence of God than Bach, Beethoven, Prokofiev, Chopin, Liszt, Brahms, Rachmaninoff, Shostakovich, Stravinsky, Schubert, Schumann, Ravel, Debussy, Scriabin, Bartok, Hummel, Haydn, Mozart. Oh my God. And that is a much, much, much stronger list of things to help us connect to that part of ourselves than trimipramine, fluoxetine, citalopram, olanzapine, lithium, any one of the dozens of medications and drugs that I've taken over the years. And of course, medication is important. It kept me alive for a bit. But music is where the real magic happens, much more than drugs.
Now here are my 2 cents, and feel free to keep the change. I saw Pharoah Sanders perform at Yoshi's in Berkeley years ago. In my opinion, he's one of the most melodic and spiritual saxophonists of our time. Yet years later, I can still remember every note he played. Now he played one of my favorite pieces from John Coltrane, Naima. Sanders has a unique way of stretching a note by overlaying polyrhythms and subtle changes in timing. As one elder jazz aficionado once told me, he kept more spit in his horn. If indeed that was all the difference there was between Sanders and Coltrane's vision of Naima, then my goodness, we should all be blessed with extra phlegm. Now when we contemplate our existence as it is, we are forced to realize that we are in the throes of an existence that seems to have no real care or concern for pain or suffering. So as human beings, we do what we do, and that is survive. This is all our bodies strive to do. Survive. Our choices, our indifference, our greed, not to mention all the other external forces working to lower our body's vibrational frequencies below its demarcation of health, is killing us, slowly but surely. What we listen to is affecting our health because what we listen to spills over into our daily lives, into our conversations and practices towards one another. But what's even more ominous is the fact that today, in a very real sense, the music industry has created cosmogonies to justify all the cruelties, aberrations, and tragedies of history. And we revel in it, dance with it, make love to it, and call it music. Dear friends, I wish above all things that you prosper just as your soul prospers. You've been listening to Urban X Real Talk Fitness Radio with your host Tiaja. If you like the content we bring each week, then follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, Snapchat, as well as any and all of your other favorite social media. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button or download our app at tiajae.podbean.com. I'm also proud to share with you my latest podcast and YouTube channel titled T's Universe. I'm telling you guys, it's already catching fire, and trust me when I say it, it's unlike anything you've ever seen or heard before. Check it out every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's 5 or so minutes that's guaranteed to change your life. And don't forget to stop through our website at www.urbanxfitness.net, where you will find our online stores, the Urban Experience Fit Stores 1 and 2. There you can download our unique home and gym workouts, our dietary menus, as well as purchase some outrageously bold teas and spark your own revolution of self-care. Also, check out our small library of my hand-picked, personally endorsed nutritional products. Got it? Okay, then get it. Until next week, as always, walk in health and peace.